and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com. You can name a star for birthdays, weddings, or even memorials. Over 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities and individuals from around the world. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
WNSR.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-617-0239. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-617-0239. That's 800-617-0239. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Listen, you can't handle the truth. It's about to go off. Live from the WNSR Strike and Spare Studios.
Just a bit outside.
It's the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Show me the money!
Call or text now. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Call us or send us a text on the WNSR text line. 615-844-5600. 615-844-5600. Call or text. Same number.
Oh, righty then.
Now, the McFarland Show with Darren and Justin.
Well, Mr. Big Voice was only half right. Welcome into the McFarland Show on WNSR. We are Nashville Sports Radio. My name is Justin McFarland. Darren McFarland has the day off, and I'll tell Darren, or let Darren rather, excuse us, as we got so many things going on, tell you exactly where he is when he gets back from that. So, we'll get to all of that in a minute. There's so much going on, as I'm juggling all these things going on here. I got phones going off. I got computers making noise. There's a lot of breaking sports news taking place here in Middle Tennessee, and we're going to get to it. And we're going to begin with what's going on over in West End. His name is Jerry Stackhouse, and he is no longer the coach at the Vanderbilt Commodores. He was relieved of his duties a little while ago. Jerry Stackhouse, of course, his team put up a really valiant effort last night, but they lost. They lost in overtime to Arkansas. Final score 90-85. Final score there in Bridgestone Arena. And, of course, that ends Vanderbilt's season. They end with a final record of 9-23. 9-23. They were 4-14 in the SEC. 4-14 in the SEC this year. And clearly that was not good enough for the folks over on West End, and he has now been relieved of his duties. We're going to get into that. We're going to hear from Jerry Stackhouse after the game coming up here in a few minutes. So a lot to talk about. We're going to have Chris Lee from Vandy Sports on with us starting in our 3 o'clock hour. So if you really want to hear the insight on that, again, come on back in our 3 o'clock hour. Actually, don't go anywhere. Stay with us. But in our 3 o'clock hour, we're going to hear from Chris Lee, and we're looking forward to getting his take on all that. The Titans have been incredibly busy over the last little bit. The Tennessee Titans signed Calvin Ridley overnight. A 4-year deal, $50 million guaranteed for Calvin Ridley. He's 29 years old. He had 1,000 yards receiving last year, 8 touchdowns for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, he played his college football in Alabama, now making his way here to Nashville. The Titans also signed Mason Rudolph as their new backup quarterback. For those wondering what's going on with Malik Willis, it doesn't sound like he's going to be here. It sounds like Mason Rudolph is, the former Pittsburgh Steelers, signing a one-year deal. The Titans also re-signed their kicker, Nick Folk. He was traded for last year. 7th-round pick, the Titans traded to get him on a one-year deal. He tested free agency for about 10 minutes, then signed with the Titans. So that's where we are with all of that. As a matter of fact, the Titans had a massive press conference earlier today where they introduced some of their new players, including Tony Pollard, their new running back. And, it's been a very, very busy sports day. So with all that said, where we're going to begin right now is we're going to talk to a gentleman who's doing me a favor, and I appreciate him. He's on hold right now from, and I'm going to say this with much pride, the sports director at CBS Chicago is a guy that I used to intern under 20-something years ago. His name is Marshall Harris, and he's on the line with us right now. My hero, Marshall Harris. How you doing, good sir?
See, why are you being so dramatic? It's not even like that.
Why I got to be dramatic, Marshall? I'm just telling the truth. I'm telling the truth to the people about what happened and the nature of our relationship. Why is that dramatic?
Justin, it's been too long. I'm glad we're catching up under any circumstance, but especially to talk sports, because that's what we used to do back in the day.
That is what we used to do all the time.
And look at us now. We're still talking sports and getting paid somewhat handsomely to do so.
Well, some of us are getting paid more than others, so I appreciate it.
Tomato.
Marshall is the sports director there at CBS Chicago, WBBM, Channel 2 there in Chicago. And I got Marshall on the line, and I interrupted his very busy day because we were talking a lot about NFL free agency, of course, here in Nashville, the Titans with the 7th overall pick. But, of course, the Chicago Bears have the number 1 pick overall. And there's been this hot debate about what's going to happen with that number 1 pick because it could affect what happens with the Titans and their pick, and about who's going to be there. So I got Marshall on the line to try to give us some insight. Marshall, the rumors have been everywhere. They've gone every which way. Are the Titans, sorry, we've been talking Titans here. Are the Bears keeping Justin Fields or not?
I think they very well could be in a position where they have to keep Justin Fields, because if they can't get anything subsequent for him, I mean, you're not going to give him away for free, right?
No.
So I think the big debate is, like, how much can they get for him? And right now there doesn't appear to be much of a market for him, which is a little bit surprising. But also, you know what? When someone becomes available on the trade market and the offers aren't what you thought they would be, that is a very much an indicator of what the league believes about him. And right now, here's what we understand. No NFL team sees him as a guy that they're willing to take a gamble on as their starting quarterback, knowing that he's got an option that's got to be punched, and you're going to have to eventually pay him if you trade for him. Yeah. So to give up assets for a guy like Justin Fields and not know whether or not he's your future, that's why you would balk at that, right? And so far, it seems like all the other 31 teams in the National Football League have balked at the idea of bringing him in as their starting quarterback.
Marshall, is there any way the Bears would actually draft Caleb Williams with Justin Fields still on the roster?
I think it would be very difficult.
Yeah.
Ryan Poles is on the record as saying he wants to do right by Justin, who's been a good soldier in all of this. If you've made your decision that you believe Caleb Williams is the guy that you want to invest your franchise in with the number 1 overall pick, where does that leave Justin Fields? He's got a year option that has to be punched in about a month, I think. And it would just make for a very tenuous situation, I think, in the Bears locker room. Now, do I think they could do it? Yes. I just don't think the chances of that happening are very high at all.
Yeah, it would be extremely awkward to have that whole situation happen. But if they felt like the Caleb Williams was the can't-miss guy, then obviously it's hard to pass that up. So here's the other thing, and I know this about Bears fans as somebody who used to live in University Park, Illinois, in Chicago Heights. My parents went to DuSable High School, and I got parents, got family still up there in Chicago. The Bears fan base is extremely passionate and opinionated. Some of the most opinionated and educated fans in all the football. What do they want to do? What is the average Bear fan, if there is such a thing, what do they want out of this?
I think the average Bear fan has quarterback fatigue. And by proxy, they have Justin Fields fatigue. They've been waiting their whole lives for a franchise-changing quarterback. Think about that.
Yeah.
You go back and you say, who's the best quarterback in Chicago Bears history?
Jim McMahon, Eric Kramer. Are
any of those guys moving the needle?
No.
Yeah, it's we have a great defense and we have a quarterback that can get the job done when need be. They want the Patrick Mahomes feeling. They want the Jim Kelly feeling. They want the Dan Marino feeling. They want the Aaron Rodgers you just name. There's so many guys you can name. Justin Herbert feeling. They want to feel like their guy can step on the field and get it done in any situation. One of the knocks that I have on Justin Fields is he had 3 years to prove himself. I was like, I just need to see this man lead a game-winning drive late one time. Never happened. Never transpired. So I think by and large, they're like, okay, Justin Fields couldn't get it done. He doesn't get rid of the ball quick enough. We need a better quarterback, and we think Caleb Williams can be that guy. So I think even if they are Justin Fields fans, they're resigned to the fact that the Bears have the number 1 overall pick, and they're going to take a quarterback number 1 overall.
What does it say about the market for Justin Fields that the Atlanta Falcons, who the rumor mill was going crazy that Justin Fields was certainly going to the Falcons. I mean, it's a foregone conclusion that Justin Fields was going to be traded to the Falcons. The Falcons signed a 35-year-old quarterback to a 4-year, $180 million deal rather than spending whatever the draft capital was for Justin Fields. I mean, what does that mean? They're quarterbacks. They're teams who need quarterbacks all over. The Raiders, I don't know what the Raiders signed Gardner Minshew as their potential starter the other day. The Commanders are in position to get a quarterback in the draft, so they're not one. But there's other teams out there who need quarterback help, and I don't know if the Bears' asking price was just so astronomical that teams said no, or whether or not teams just didn't want them. So which one is it? Did the Bears want too much, or was teams just not calling the facility?
I think it's probably more the Bears want too much. I mean, they have a price that they want or what they expected anyway, and that just has not transpired. And so they're waiting, and it's like I describe it as a game of musical chairs, right? Like you're looking around the league, okay, who's interested? And you mentioned the Falcons specifically. That's almost coming across like a fanfic, if you will. Like, these movies come out and like, I think the perfect person to play that role would be, well, of course you draw the tie to the fact that Justin Fields is from there.
Idris Elba obviously is going to be James Bond, right? I mean, exactly. Obviously.
So Fields is from there, and, he's a running quarterback. We all remember the Mike Vick experience.
Sure.
And you're like, it could be a similar type thing. But in reality, you got a new head coach, a new coaching staff, and they're like, oh, Justin Fields, one thing that he has issues with is getting rid of the ball quickly, right? Yeah. Well, I know this guy in Minnesota. We paid him a boatload of money to come down here, who also has ties to the area through his wife. And he's going to get the ball in the hands of the playmakers, which is the ultimate goal for any quarterback in any system, right? And I think that's why they paid Kirk Cousins all the money.
So if they're not going to pick a quarterback, if they're not going to go with Caleb Williams, then here's where the Titans connection comes in, because the Titans are at 7, and they're in the position where they're watching the dominoes fall in front of them. Marshall, just to be real, the Titans have said they're looking at only 2 positions. They're looking at offensive lineman and offensive tackle in particular, and they're looking at wide receiver. And if, the Bears decide they're not going quarterback, which means they probably would go with Marvin Harrison Jr., you would think would be the other guy that would be sitting there at number 1. If you're not going to take a quarterback, why wouldn't you take that guy as your number 1 overall pick? So I'm putting it to you, someone who's there all the time and every day. If they don't pick Caleb Williams, what are they doing at number 1?
Oh, if they were not taking Caleb Williams, they'd be taking another quarterback, I think. If they don't take a quarterback number 1 overall, they're trading the pick, simply put. And even if they were not to take a Caleb Williams, no matter if they take a quarterback, they'd still trade that pick to whoever wanted. You're going to get a haul at number 1 overall. We saw it last year, and the fact they were able to get this year's number 1 overall pick through the Panthers.
Yeah.
And also DJ Moore, who's been a great receiver, just coming off his best receiving year as a wide receiver, and that's with Justin Fields at quarterback. Not even like a pure pocket passer, if you will.
Yeah. So they're trading the pick. If they decide not to take the quarterback for whatever the reason, the pick is gone, and it'll be somebody else trading up to get to that number 1.
Yeah, who takes the number 1 and takes the quarterback.
Wow.
But I really just don't see how they won't take a quarterback. This is for some people, once in a lifetime situation. They've now had the number 1 pick 2 years in a row, traded it away last year. Can they really afford to trade it away again if that guy if there's a franchise quarterback in this draft, you have to take him. The NFL is built around quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes. You saw Tyreek Hill left, right?
Yeah.
What did Patrick Mahomes do this year?
Well, they've already made the mistake of passing on Patrick Mahomes once there in Chicago. So if they've got another one in front of them, it would stand to reason they wouldn't pass again by doing this. So with that said, then that means they're going to lower the price for Justin Fields, because if they're going to take a quarterback, if you believe that, and you're there all the time, you're at Hallis Hall, if you think they're going to take a quarterback, that means they've got to get rid of Justin Fields somewhere, which means if they're asking too much for him now, you got to lower the price. Because if you got to, so now we're looking at, well, who else wants him and how bad do you want him? And now these quarterbacks have been flying all over the league. So who's left that needs a quarterback that'd be willing to give up something?
Chairs.
Yeah.
We see like Seattle at last check needed a quarterback. I don't know if they signed one today, but coming out of yesterday, they still didn't have a backup quarterback. But you're right. Most of these teams already have starting quarterbacks, backup quarterbacks, or they've already said we are targeting a quarterback in the draft.
Yeah, boy. All right, let's switch to something else before I let you go, and I really, really appreciate it on short notice. Marshall Harris is with us. He's the sports director at CBS Chicago. And, Marshall, we broke ground here in Nashville on Leap Day on February 29th on a $2.2 billion stadium in downtown Nashville. It's going to be a dome stadium. There's been rumors. I've even watched a 30-minute special online about the possibility of building a dome there in Arlington Heights. Then I saw another proposal that said, the Keep the Bears Downtown campaign or something, where they would want to build a stadium replacement there next to Soldier Field or something like that. I do know this. The Final Four is not coming to Chicago. The Super Bowl, not coming to Chicago. Lots of different events that Chicago would be a natural fit for are not coming until they get a stadium situation figured out. So what's the latest on that? What are they doing?
I think they're coming up on the legislation cycle, as it were, to get all these proposals out to see what can be done, what can't be done, and it's a lot of it is leverage. You say, hey, here's the plan for us to go downtown, and people are looking at it and they're exploring it, but also they do own the land in Arlington Heights. Mm-hmm. So if the tax valuations come down and that's more favorable, I fully believe they will still build a dome stadium in Arlington Heights, which is the suburbs, if you will.
Yeah.
And like you said, there's too many things that they can do if they have a dome stadium not to build a dome stadium. So it's just a matter of time. There's no leader in the clubhouse, as it were.
Really?
Yeah.
Seriously, and I trust you, my man, but you're no leader in the club after all this time. There's no leader in the clubhouse.
Justin, it's part of the process. It's part of the process. It's just part of the process. As you know, this is not Tennessee. This is not Nashville. Yeah. There's less space to go around.
Yeah.
So you got to be pick and choose your spots. They're also dueling right now with the White Sox, who are trying to get a new stadium built, not too far from where Soldier Field is right now. So
yeah, I saw that some proposed loop. Was it called the loop or South Loop or whatever they're calling it? Yeah.
It's 2 blocks from where I live, where they want to put the White Sox new stadium. So it will be interesting to see how it all plays out. But I'm not moved to think that this is going to happen tomorrow.
Wow. Okay, so it could be a little while longer. Well,
Yeah, but not much longer. I think in the next few months we'll know.
We'll know for sure. All right, Marshall Harris.
Before football season.
Marshall Harris has been our guest. He is the sports director at CBS2 in Chicago, or CBS Chicago, or WBBM, or we keep rebranding things these days. So we do. Yeah, we do. And
they don't ask my opinion though. I just go with whatever they.
That's true. Marshall was also the weekend sports anchor at WAFF in Huntsville, where one Justin McFarland was his intern for a few months. So
that's a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Yeah, but listen, but look at where we are. Started from there, and look at where we are, man.
Can I just tell you, I'm so proud of you.
Well, no, I'm proud of you, but I don't think the listeners want to hear that. But here you are at CBS2, and this is my second job of the day. I've already done 5 hours of television, and now I'm here doing this. So I mean,
don't worry, I keep an eye on the old Fox in Nashville. I know what goes down. I was like, that's perfect for him. He's crazy like a fox.
All right, and
fly like a fox.
Fly like a fox, exactly. Hey, man, I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
No problem, Justin. Anytime.
All right, man. Marshall Harris, the sports director for CBS2 there in Chicago, shedding some light on what's going to happen with the number one overall pick, which Marshall says, and again, I've known Marshall 20 years. He says either the Bears are going to pick a quarterback or they're going to trade. But Justin Fields doesn't sound like he's long for Chicago, if I believe the word of Marshall Harris there. All right. When we come back, we're going to get into the local headlines here. We've got the SEC basketball tournament going on downtown Nashville. Vanderbilt is looking for a brand new head coach. The Titans have signed several new players. A lot to get into. And we welcome your phone call, 615-844-5600. That's 615-844-5600. It's the McFarland Show on WNSR.
You enjoy the thrill of gambling, but what happens when it becomes a problem? Whether you want to cut back or quit gambling altogether, the Gambling Clinic has been helping people change their gambling for over 2 decades. We're here to help, not to judge. The Gambling Clinic is a Tennessee-based clinic offering in-person and telehealth support to help people win back their life. Visit us at thegamblingclinic.com. This project is funded by the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
Your brain is an amazing thing. But as you get older, it naturally begins to change, causing a lack of sharpness or even trouble with recall. Thankfully, the breakthrough in Prevagen helps your brain and actually improves memory. The secret is an ingredient originally discovered in jellyfish. Based on a clinical study of subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired, Prevagen has been shown to improve memory. A Pharmacy Times national survey of pharmacists rated Prevagen the #1 pharmacist-recommended memory support brand for the 5th year in a row. You can find it in the vitamin aisle in stores everywhere without a prescription. Help your memory. Try Prevagen today. Prevagen. Healthier brain, better life. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
The Locksmith Company, our full-service locksmithing expert, is reminding listeners that every 2 seconds someone in the U.S. needs blood. Giving equals living, so please consider donating blood today. This message is brought to you by the Locksmith Company, a proud veteran employer for all your residential, commercial, or automotive locksmithing needs. Call today for a free estimate or 24/7 emergency service at 931-801-5427, 931-801-5427. And also visit the lsco.com. The Locksmith Company is looking forward to seeing you.
It's the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
I suspect a lot of Titans fans, I'm not sure, but I suspect will want Kevin Byard back. This team has turned over a new leaf, a whole new look completely in this market. We're about to embark on something we have never seen in 25 years.
The McFarland Show with Darren and Justin on Nashville Sports Radio WNSR.
You're listening to The McFarland Show live on WNSR Nashville Sports Radio.
The McFarland Show here on WNSR. We are Nashville Sports Radio. Good afternoon. I'm Justin McFarland. Thrilled to be here with you. Darren McFarland has the day off. DJ Damon King here with us as well. Appreciate Marshall Harris spending some time with us. I had to squeeze him in right there at the top of the show because, you know, he's busy with other stuff. But I appreciate him taking some time out to speak with me from up there in Chicago about the upcoming NFL draft and some of the things that may be happening. All right. Lots of things to get into right here in Nashville, though. And that includes, of course, the very latest happening with the SEC basketball tournament ongoing over there at Bridgestone Arena. Last night, of course, it was the Vanderbilt Commodores whose whole entire season came to an end after a loss to the Arkansas Razorbacks in overtime. Vanderbilt hit a thrilling shot in the regulation to take this game to overtime and tied at 78. Then they got to the overtime, and it simply was not enough as they ended up losing that ball game to Arkansas. Final score was 90 to 85. 90 to 85 was the final score there from Bridgestone Arena. This afternoon, they do have games that are up and going. It just went final a short time ago from Bridgestone Arena. Mississippi State with the win. Final score 70 to 60 over LSU. 70-60 final score there between Mississippi State and LSU. So Mississippi State will move on in that particular game. I believe Mississippi State will go on to play Tennessee, correct? Coming up tomorrow. DJ Damon King?
Yes, sir. Very much so. Can I say this has been the busiest 24 hours in sports I've seen? I mean, I knew after that game last night that Stackhouse was probably going to be gone. Because he sounded defeated, didn't he?
We're going to hear from him coming up in a second. But, he did, listen, he was 9-23. Yeah, so,
right.
Was he supposed to sound thrilled about it?
It was almost as bad as Missouri.
He just lost in overtime, and his team is 9-23 and 4-14 in conference. So, yeah, he wasn't going to sound thrilled about what happened.
The two worst teams played last night, Missouri and Vanderbilt. They both lost.
All right, well.
But let me say, too, did you
Sure.
notice the crowd?
Yeah.
I got info from somebody that they were giving out free tickets. That's why the crowd was so good last night.
Well, I mean, if that's what they did,
There
but, there was plenty of people in there.
There was a lot of people there. So Darren, I don't know, he had that information.
Plenty of people in there.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up this afternoon, Arkansas is set to take on South Carolina. As a matter of fact, I've got it up here on the ESPN screen where I'm looking. They've got tickets. That game begins in a couple of minutes. They got tickets as low as $5 if you want to go to that game. Yeah. Arkansas against South Carolina. So
they're not advertising it on Ticketmaster, I guess.
No, but it's right here next to the score where you can click and buy a ticket. So you can buy a ticket for $5. Ole Miss taking on Texas A&M. You can buy tickets to that game at $9.
And
that game starts at 6:00. And then, of course, we've got Georgia taking on Florida in the nightcap. That game starts at 8:30 or shortly after Ole Miss finishes up with Texas A&M. Tickets are $9 to that one as well.
So I wonder if Tennessee can get by Mississippi State Saturday. Will they have those kind of prices?
No, I think the prices are going to go up. Somehow I just got that feeling that the prices
I would have preferred to play LSU, but hey, I'll take it.
That the prices are gonna go up a little bit.
$9, wow.
As a matter of fact, here we are. Mississippi State will be playing Tennessee tomorrow. The game is set for noon. Tickets are $90.
$90, okay, that's not too bad.
You can get tickets for $90.
I'll be here though, but that's not too bad.
Yeah, so game is at noon coming up tomorrow. All right. Of course, the big headline, and actually there's several. I don't know if there's a big one. There's a few of them. Jerry Stackhouse getting let go at Vanderbilt University after turning in a total record of 70-92 in 5 years with the Commodores. No appearances in the NCAA tournament. Got close last year, was a bubble team last year, but the bubble popped on him and he did not get in. And he was let go earlier today by the university. And so now they're on the lookout for a brand new head coach. Who do they go get? We're going to talk to Chris Lee about it from Vanderbilt Vandy Sports coming up in our 3:00 hour. Looking forward to his insight. We're also welcoming your phone calls at 615-844-5600. That's 615-844-5600. Let's bring in Tony. Tony's on the line from Nolansville. Tony, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, guys, and wherever Darren's at.
I'll let him share it. He'll tell it when he gets done. I know where he is. Damon knows where he is. He's fine.
I think I know where he might be. I think I know where he might be, too.
He's just fine, but I'll let him tell you about it whenever he gets done.
That's all right.
Okay.
Let me say this.
Yes, sir.
And cover your ears. I'm going to say something here.
Uh-oh.
Yes! He's gone! Thank you, Candace. Way to step up. Long overdue. He should have been gone maybe 2 years ago. Last year he saved it. But it was definitely time for him to go this year. And I called y'all back in February one particular day and said March 14th would be the day. And March 14th has come, and he is gone. So, and Darren had mentioned, and you might remember this particular day, Justin.
Yes.
And Damon, he said Drew Maddox will crawl for that job.
Yes.
Y'all remember that?
He did.
Well, let's see if Candace will offer the job to him, and if he'll crawl to take the Vanderbilt job.
Well, obviously,
I love it.
Tony, there's no way in the world Candace Lees, who we're talking about, who did this, there's no way she does this without having some names in a drawer about who she wants. Now, I don't know if Drew Maddox is on that list, but besides Drew Maddox, who else would you want to see?
Well, 3 names. Let me say this.
Yes, sir.
If you go to a head coaching route, can you bring in the coach from Houston? Can you bring in somebody that's in the contention for a natty this year? Or do you go the top assistant route? If that's the case, I wouldn't mind Will Avery from Duke. Been around a while.
See, that's the language that's what I think. But go ahead.
And if not him, maybe I think Wake Forest has got a guy named Kellen Simpson. He's at Houston. But the Brooks Savage assistant coach, maybe at Wake Forest. But I think Vanderbilt has got to get on that level to get a top-notch assistant who is embracing the NIL, embracing the portal. Give this guy some money, whoever it is, to go bring in some players. But I think that might be the route to go down that type of line. If they could get a top-name coach, Justin, to come here, they're going to have to pay some big bucks. Of course, they're having to pay a buyout now on Stackhouse. I think we've all talked about it, like $8 million.
Yes, sir.
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
8.5.
So
that's what I've heard.
You're going to have to pay him, and you're going to have to pay a coach coming in. But I think they can go after a good, top-notch assistant. That's some of the hottest assistants, in the country, and make Vanderbilt a lucrative product and give them the resources to be a competitive team. But that's 2 or 3 of my names that of assistants, top assistants.
No, I agree with you, and you said something key there. These are from academic schools, Wake Forest, from Duke, not just from anywhere. And that's why I don't think Houston is good. First of all, I don't think why the head coach of Houston would come here. I don't think it would be an attractive job for him. That's my thought.
They understand the concept of the private school and like you say, the high academic school going in that nature. And I think we're all on the same page with that.
Yeah, but Wake Forest, Duke, Notre Dame, Stanford, to me, these are the kind of places where you would want to, if you're going to pick from that tree, those are the kind of places that I would want to pick from to bring in somebody who understands what it's like to recruit certain types of athletes. Because let's face it, you're not just looking for any type of athlete, which is why I ultimately think Jerry Stackhouse didn't work here. There's no reason why Jerry Stackhouse couldn't be a successful coach given who he has been in the game of basketball, but it doesn't work if you can't just go get anybody. You have to get a certain type of player, and maybe the kind of people that Jerry Stackhouse could bring in just could not come here to Vanderbilt, which I think is part of the problem.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask you a question. I've talked some inner circles with my friends and all. Do you think, he wasn't a big recruiter. Do you think that he thought his name alone would bring in top-notch players?
Well, I think there's some. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but Tony, if you're him, how do you not think that on some level? I mean, honestly, man. I mean, how do you not think that on some level? If you're North Carolina, Jerry Stackhouse, 20 years in the NBA, NBA All-Star, Jerry Stack. I mean, how do you not think that on some level? I'm not saying that that was it. I'm just saying, if that's what he did think, could you blame him?
He brought in Pippen. His first player was Darius Garland, that was back in the early stages.
Darius Garland played under Bryce Drew.
Did he?
I think he's right. I think he did.
Okay.
I'm just saying this. All I'm saying is this, Tony. And again, to your point, and I understand exactly what you're saying. And I don't know how much he leaned on his name, but I don't know how he couldn't have thought that on some level based on who he has been in the game of basketball. But again, Tony, it doesn't matter if the particular person who recognizes who Jerry Stackhouse is or has been in the game of basketball and wants to tap into that, if they don't have the academic standing to do what's necessary to play at Vanderbilt, then it doesn't matter. And that's all. That's all I've been getting at is I don't know if he was able to play to his full potential here.
His reputation is outstanding, no question about that. But in truth, and not talking negative about Jerry Stackhouse, he just wasn't a good fit here. It just didn't work. And I think he'd be a good top-notch NBA assistant, go back to the G League, be a great coach there. But I just think his style, his philosophies did not work on the collegiate level. And one thing about it, we'll be saving some money of how many assistant coaches and operating staff people he has. He had like 14 to 20 of them. So they'll save some money there, I think.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. Tony, thank you so much for your call, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. See ya.
All right, Tony in Nolensville there. Listen, there were rumors that Jerry Stackhouse was going to get the Detroit Pistons job in the NBA before the season started. Now, they went another direction, but, it wouldn't be beyond my thought that Jerry Stackhouse is going to be done coaching somewhere. I think he's going to go somewhere else and coach. Now, is it going to be another college job? Is he going to take some time off? Is he going to be an NBA assistant? How does it look for him in the future? I don't know, but I don't think he's going to be done with the game of basketball.
I think also the fact that he was trying to win this tournament, maybe make a good impression. And once that game went final last night, it kind of like, okay, I don't think Kansas had a choice. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know about that. I think she did have a choice, but I mean, she could have brought but listen, the decision's been made. It's all water under the bridge now. Yeah. Jerry Stackhouse is out at Vanderbilt after turning in a record of 70-92 as the head coach there for the Commodores, and the Commodores are now on the lookout for a brand new coach wherever that may come from is still unknown. We're going to be talking with Chris Lee from Vandy Sports coming up here in our 3 o'clock hour. We're going to dive a little deeper into that subject and looking forward to doing that. So we'll find out exactly, how everything fits together. We're going to take a break. When we come back, lots more to get into. The Titans have made some big moves. We're going to talk about that a little bit. A little bit later, we're going to hear from Jerry Stackhouse himself. He spoke after the game last night before he was relieved from his duties. A lot more to get into. Plus, we welcome your phone calls, 615-844-5600. It's the McFarland Show on WNSR.
It's just a few cocktails at happy hour.
There aren't any cops around.
After every game, we always have a few. It's no big deal.
It was just a few drinks. I'm good.
Hey, I can hold my liquor.
I drink and drive all the time.
If you put away some drinks, put away your keys. Fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, a division of the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security.
Bar Lines at the Omni Nashville Hotel downtown is at the heart of Music City. Located within walking distance of the Country Music Hall of Fame, Bar Lines at the Omni is your downtown honky-tonk destination. Watch your team from any seat on their plentiful HD TVs and catch a live show on the Bar Lines stage featuring live music 7 days a week. Bar Lines has the ultimate Southern comfort food. Get started with classic fried green tomatoes or bourbon barbecue wings. Then it's on to the massive Smashville double stack or the world famous Bar Lines grinder. Oh, you've never heard of the Bar Lines grinder? 2 kinds of cheese, lettuce, Dijon, smoked turkey, smoked bacon, smoked ham. Now that's some smoke you want. Local brews and local spirits are on tap at Bar Lines. Take a seat on the patio outside and soak up the rhythm of Music City. Bar Lines at the Omni Nashville Hotel, 5th Avenue, downtown.
Gas, groceries, utilities, you name it, the price of everything is going up. And if you're stuck in a bad timeshare with rising maintenance fees, the financial burden can be crushing. It is time to get your finances in order and get the real facts about that timeshare that you are stuck in and your options to get rid of it. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has been helping families out of horrible timeshares for over 10 years and has put together a complete timeshare exit information kit that he will send you absolutely free. To date, over 30,000 families have trusted Wesley Financial Group to help them out of financial hardship by getting them out of bad timeshares. Get the facts about how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation. Simply call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit and see how you can become timeshare free. Call 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. Once again, 800-462-3333.
It's JB and the General.
You're 6'9" for Joe Alton and ran a good 40. 5:04, I believe was.
I think I saw a little bit of his work. I looked like he was moving around pretty well.
Looked good. I will say this though: Chargers at 5, he's going to play right tackle for them. So if he makes it past then, maybe you can get him to the Titans at 7. But apparently he's not making it past number 5.
Really,
so it is unfortunate.
Weekdays 9 to 11, live on WNSR.
5-state forecast. Your exclusive national sports radio, WNSR Sky Scan forecast. Today's going to be mostly cloudy, widespread showers, a high temperature around 70. Cloud showers, maybe a thunderstorm tonight, below 52. Saturday, cloudy, showers likely, perhaps a thunderstorm, high 62. Sunny Sunday, high 56. Utilizing the resources of the WeatherBug Network on National Sports Radio, I'm WNSR's meteorologist, Jim Rinaldi.
Sports Radio, WNSR.
Welcome back to the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
WNSR, it's the McFarland Show. Thrilled to be here with you on this very warm Thursday afternoon. If you haven't had a chance to stick your head outside, let that sunshine hit you a little bit. It's warm out there. Could be as much as 80 degrees coming up here a little bit later. The rain is going to pour in tonight. So just heads up on that. The rain is going to pour in tonight, and then it's going to cool off after that. So just be aware about that. Enjoy the sunshine while it's around. A lot going on in the world of sports. Of course, the SEC men's basketball tournament is ongoing over downtown Nashville at Bridgestone Arena. We've already had one game go final a little bit earlier in the day. It was LSU getting the loss.
Mississippi State.
Sorry, thank you. Yeah, LSU getting the loss. Mississippi State with the win, 70-60 was the final score there. A short time ago, Arkansas just tipped off against South Carolina. They lead early on, 11-5. There in the first half action at Bridgestone Arena. Later on, Ole Miss taking on Texas A&M, and then Georgia taking on Florida on the basketball floor, coming up at around 8:30. Of course, it was a big day for Vanderbilt sports. They fired Jerry Stackhouse earlier today. We're going to be talking a lot with Chris Lee coming up here in the next few minutes. Something else that happened today, and that is the NFL has been making a lot of noise. Calvin Ridley, in case you missed it, and if you're tuned in to us, I don't know how you did, but Calvin Ridley signed a 4-year deal with the Tennessee Titans at age 29, worth $50 million in guaranteed money. He caught over 1,000 yards receiving last year in Jacksonville, and he is going to be joining the Two-Tone Blue now to go along with DeAndre Hopkins as the 1 and 2 receivers, and Treylon Burks, the number 1 pick from a couple of years ago. We imagine he'll move to 3. They also signed Mason Rudolph as the backup quarterback. So what does this mean for the future of Malik Willis? So I don't think he's going to be here very long is what it sounds like. But the Titans have brought Mason Rudolph in on a 1-year deal. Titans have also re-signed their kicker, Nick Folk, to a 1-year deal as well. It was also introduction day in Baltimore. That is where Derrick Henry was introduced to the media. He's also been talking to several other national broadcasts, including a few moments ago. He was on, I believe this is NFL Network. Yes, NFL Network is who he was talking to. If we can, let's hear a little bit from the King. All right. We'll get back to that in just a second here. We're going to hear more from Derrick Henry as he was talking to NFL Network. We'll get to that in just a second. Before we do, also understand the Titans introduced their running backs as well over there at their facility a little bit earlier. It was Tony Pollard who took the microphone along with a few other of the Titans players, their newest additions, and their brand new center took the microphone and they spoke as well. So we're going to hear a little bit from them coming up here later on as well. So we're looking forward to all of that. So a lot to react to. Also keep in mind, great game last night for the Nashville Predators. They were able to secure a 4-2 win over the Winnipeg Jets on the road as they continue their winning ways here, and they've moved up now to the number 1 position for the wild card there in the NHL West. So we'll see how that goes. So congratulations to them getting a big win last night there in Winnipeg, and the Preds will continue on. I believe they've got the Coyotes up next, so we'll look forward to seeing some of their action coming up here very, very soon. Let me talk a little bit about what happened as far as the Titans and their latest moves are concerned. Calvin Ridley, with the 4-year, $50 million, I know it's $92 million, but $50 million guaranteed. He's 29 years old, about to turn 30 here before long. Caught it for 1,000 yards last year. The year before that, faced suspension. The year before that, he also went over 1,000 yards. Went to the University of Alabama. Clearly a very talented receiver. He's a guy that the Titans would not have touched a few years ago and didn't touch a few years ago, much to the frustration of one Darren McFarland, who sat here and ranted about why the Titans would not go after one Calvin Ridley. And then another team in the division went ahead and signed him. They signed him for 1 year. He produced. Now the Titans are bringing him here, and he's going to be part of their brand new passing game. So we're going to get to that and coming up here in just a second. Before I get too far over there, let's go ahead and hear from Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry was talking with NFL Network earlier today.
So, Derrick, last thing for you really quick. Mike was alluding to it, saying, okay, it's year 9. Running backs don't last that long. You just turned 30, which is a scary number. I know a lot of times for running backs here. You led the league in rushing attempts for the last 5 years. There's going to be skeptical people saying, well, he's got a lot of mileage on him. He's getting older. What version of Derrick Henry are the Ravens getting, and how motivated are you to put those finishing touches on what should be a Hall of Fame resume?
Yeah, I kind of look at it, age is nothing but a number. But I know at a running back position, history shows when you get up in age that, there's some type of decline. I can tell you, I feel like the same Derrick Henry. I know the numbers might look a little different, but I'm excited for this opportunity. Excited to prove myself. Excited to help this offense and this team, and let them keep talking. Let them keep watching. We'll see what happens when September comes. But I'll be working till then.
Let them keep talking. Let them keep watching, is what Derrick Henry had to say. He was dressed all in purple today up there. Had on a purple suit. He said it was the same purple suit he wore to his grandmother's funeral several years ago. Was the suit he wore today as he signed on with the Ravens. So just wanted to put a cap on that. I know a lot of people were talking about it, so don't say we didn't hear from him. There he was.
I'm still amazed at how many people will still act like they're shocked. Like they should have paid him. They should have kept him. They should have worked out something. I think they're just disappointed he's in the Ravens color or something. But Facebook is like, and and not to be mean, but it's a lot of ladies who fell in love with him, I think. And so it seems like they have this love, like, oh, Derrick Henry's gone. We can't do what, but hey, like you said, Eddie George, Chris Johnson, all those guys left. So
yeah,
that's part of it, right?
These people, the people who are sad about seeing Derrick Henry leave, are folks who are fans, and they should be. And there's nothing wrong with being a fan of Derrick Henry. But this is the National Football League. The team doesn't belong to Derrick Henry. Let me tell you something. Everybody who's sad about Derrick Henry going on to Baltimore and feel some kind of way about it, here's news for you. He's not sad.
Right. He's going to be compensated pretty good.
He looked pretty happy.
Yeah.
I just saw him up here a few seconds ago.
I call them football fans who just watch Titans and they don't really keep up with. They just like.
Well, that's how sports is sometimes, and that's fine. But, for anybody who feels some kind of way or portrayed or whatever, he don't feel that way.
I'm not feeling sorry for him. He's got millions of dollars.
He don't feel that way at all. Yeah. If he felt that strongly about it, he wouldn't have signed in Baltimore, and he signed right up there in Baltimore. Yeah. So it's okay.
That money will make you get over it real fast.
Yeah, he's already over it. I don't think he was ever not over it.
Right.
I don't think he struggled with it at all. Like, what are the people in Nashville go think if I sign with the Ravens? I don't think that really entered his psyche whatsoever. So there's that. All right, when we come back, we're going to hear from Jerry Stackhouse, the now former head coach of the Vanderbilt Commodores. We're going to hear some of his comments from the game last night after their tough loss to Arkansas and before he was fired by Vanderbilt. This is the McFarland Show on WNSR.
When was the last time you did something fun with family, friends, coworkers, and clients? What if I told you about a place under one roof that offers affordable entertainment for all ages? That's what you'll find at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers in Donaldson, Hermitage, Tusculum, Hendersonville, and Murfreesboro with bowling, games, food, drink, and entertainment for all ages. Enjoy an enhanced experience in Hendersonville or Murfreesboro where they feature additional fun with bumper cars, laser tag, roller skating, and more. All locations are open 7 days a week, including holidays. Visit online at strikeandspare.com. Strike and Spare, where fun is bowling.
Bob's Steak and Chop House, located in the Omni Nashville Hotel, is a nationally renowned steakhouse specializing in the finest corn-fed Midwestern prime beef. The menu formula is simple: incredible meat, gigantic shrimp, fabulous salads, and decadent desserts. Start your experience at Bob's with the fried calamari or fresh scallops seared in Texas burnt honey. All the beef at Bob's Steak and Chop House are USDA prime cuts, from the traditional filet of tenderloin and ribeye to the adventurous Kansas City bone-in strip. They even have 2 different surf and turf options. And if you're looking for the other white meat, Bob's Steak and Chop House serves a dry-aged pork tomahawk with homemade applesauce. Fresh seafood is on the menu, from salmon to scampi, and even fresh lobster tail. For reservations, give them a call or log on to the Omni Nashville Hotel website. Bob's Steak and Chop House at the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Upside, the free app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back just for buying the gas I was going to buy anyway.
But is it a hassle to use?
No, it's super fast and easy, and I can cash out whenever I want.
That's a total no-brainer. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code LIFT for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's promo code LIFT. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code LIFT for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code LIFT.
And now Comstock & Sons Construction is reminding Americans to show support to the brave men and women who serve our U.S. military. Please visit DAV.org and consider donating to the disabled U.S. veterans who need our help. This message is brought to you by Comstock & Sons Construction. For all your residential remodeling needs, give the pros a call today and ask about their military and senior discounts. 931-703-5623. 931-703-5623. That's Comstock & Sons Construction. They're professionals who care.
Memphis, get loud for your Memphis Grizzlies when they face off against the Oklahoma City Thunder this Saturday on Wrestling Night. Arrive early. First 5,000 will receive a Grizzlies luchador mask. Get hyped, get ready for an epic matchup, and secure your tickets today by visiting Grizzlies.com. Grizz Nation, take your fandom to the next level by downloading the all-new official Memphis Grizzlies mobile app to buy or access your tickets and personalize your experience.
You're listening live from the Strike and Spare Studios, downtown Music City. It's the McFarland Show.
The McFarland Show on WNSR. We are Nashville Sports Radio, here with you on this Thursday afternoon, a busy sports day, as we continue to follow some of the action around the SEC as they continue their play down there at Bridgestone Arena. One game already in the books. Mississippi State beat LSU 70-60, and Arkansas and South Carolina in a tight battle there in the first half down there at Bridgestone Arena. 2 more games this evening before they are all done for the day. Well, I mentioned there's only been one McFarland here, but there's another who is now joining us. Darren McFarland from our Rutherford County Bureau today. Darren, you got us loud and clear, sir?
Justin, I've been in Rutherford County for a good while. I got out earlier than expected, so you know what? There's a lot going on. And I thought I would join the show. I didn't think I was going to be able to, but they let us out early.
They let you out. Okay, yeah. Well, you can go into who they is if you want to a little bit later, but
I will. Yeah.
Okay.
I've never been jury summoned before in my life, ever, and so this was a first. I did not get picked for the grand jury, but I am getting picked for all the other stuff in the month of April. So it could be a hit or miss. For me in the entire month of April.
The
I don't know
entire
how
month
this
of
works.
April. Okay.
Yeah, I've never been through this before. Like I said, I did not get picked. It was like 14 or 16 people that they selected for the grand jury. I did not get picked for that, but the rest of us in the room, which was, I don't know, 50 people at least. I don't know what the number was. It was a lot. Are all in groups, and these groups get called throughout I have to call literally every day in the month of April to see if I have to go in or not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
I've never done this before, so that's what they told me, Justin. I don't know.
Okay. So Darren's gonna be fairly busy through the month of April, it may seem. We'll have to check in with that. Obviously, Darren, we've been all over the map here. We've only got 2 minutes here in this this hour before we have to throw the news and all of that. Anything strong you want to react to, this Calvin Ridley or Jerry Stackhouse? I'll leave it up to you in 2 minutes. What do you want to react to here?
Well, it stinks that all the big news came right after we got off the air yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, right after we get off the air, they signed Mason Rudolph. There's the backup quarterback situation, which we really didn't talk about. Obviously, I was pounding the drum for Jimmy Garoppolo.
I mentioned A.J. McCarron, but ended up being Mason Rudolph.
Yep, it was Mason Rudolph from the Steelers. I'm okay with that. I don't really have any strong feelings either way. But then the big kaboom came, I don't know what, 30, within 30 minutes of us being off the air, the big kaboom of Calvin Ridley being signed to the $92 million contract. We'll see. We'll have to go down to Jacksonville. Maybe we do that tomorrow. Maybe we do it next week and just find out, what their thoughts are. Were they really trying to keep him? Were they like good riddance? I'd love to know kind of the Jags perspective, and we'll talk to our guy Tony Smith. But then the other one was, watching the Vanderbilt game, exciting game. They lose in overtime. Ezra Monroe with a big shot to tie it.
Yeah.
They go to OT, they lose. But listening to Jerry Stackhouse's press conference, there was a lot of layers to it in my takeaway, and I tweeted about it this morning saying, sounds like a guy that knows he's not coming back for his 6th year. If you listen to that and you interpret it as you think he's coming back, I don't really know if you can read a room or not, because I couldn't have been more compelled the other way after listening to him. And I have several thoughts I know we'll get into probably in the second hour. But Vanderbilt has decided to move on from Jerry Stackhouse. I hate that it didn't work, but it's a results business. And for 5 years, he didn't get him to an NCAA tournament.
More on that coming up in our second hour.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office asking for a 30-day delay in the hush money case against Donald Trump. Prosecutors say so they can review newly disclosed evidence from the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan. That trial's supposed to begin March 25th. An attorney representing a woman in a defamation lawsuit against Congressman Matt Gaetz says he was served a subpoena. ABC's Olivia Rubin says Gaetz is accused of having sex with his accuser when she was 17.
The woman, who was then a minor, is now in her 20s, and she has issued this subpoena to Congressman Matt Gaetz. But what's really key here is that because of this subpoena, which is calling for an April 5th deposition, Congressman Matt Gaetz could now have to go under oath.
SpaceX's mega rocket, being tested to eventually take people to the moon, made a successful launch today, but the company says it lost contact as it tried to return to Earth. No one was on board. This is ABC News.
Give the star in your life the brightest gift in the world. Name a star after them. This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star for birthdays, weddings, or even memorials. Over 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities and individuals from around the world. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
Attention business owners. WNSR has some exciting opportunities for your business to thrive in the dynamic world of sports radio advertising. As the proud home of some of your favorite sports teams like the Atlanta Braves, Memphis Grizzlies, and more, we understand the power of sports in bringing people together and creating a passionate community. We believe that your business can become an integral part of this experience, reaching a diverse and engaged audience. Contact the WNSR sales team for an opportunity to discuss how Nashville's sports radio can elevate your brand to new heights. Whether you're interested in a specific sponsorship package or would like a customized solution, we are here to meet your advertising needs. Call 615-844-1039. 615-844-1039 or email saleswnsr@gmail.com. That's saleswnsr@gmail.com.
Listen, you can't handle the truth. It's about to go off. Live from the WNSR Strike and Spare studios.
Just a bit outside.
Now back to the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Throw me the money!
Call or text now. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Call us or send us a text on the WNSR text line. 615-844-5600. 615-844-5600. Call or text. Same number.
Alrighty then.
Now the McFarland Show with Darren and Justin.
Second hour of the McFarland Show on WNSR. I'm Justin McFarland here with you from the Strike and Spare Family Studios. Damon King, DJ Damon King, along with us as well. Darren McFarland from our Rutherford County Bureau today, and we are anxious to talk with all of you. We've been talking a lot. We've been all over the map. In the first hour, we went to Chicago. We talked some NFL free agency and draft talk with my good friend up there. And then we talked a lot more about the Vanderbilt move. Of course, they decided to move on from Jerry Stackhouse after their loss in overtime last night to Arkansas. Of course, there are more games that are ongoing over there at Bridgestone Arena as we speak. But right now, let's dive deeper into the situation with Vanderbilt by bringing in Chris Lee. He is with VandySports.com. Of course, they have been on top of the story since the very beginning. And Chris, first of all, good afternoon, sir. Thank you for taking time out. I know you're there at the arena right now. When did you know, Chris? When did you know that this was truly the end? Was it as soon as the horn sounded last night and Vanderbilt came up short, or shortly after?
Probably 10:30 this morning. To be honest, I was at the press conference last night. I do not think Candace Lee has wanted to fire him the whole time. I think that they had him locked into a contract with some pretty unfavorable terms if they chose to do so. But I think the public pressure and maybe the donor pressure and the money that they would lose got to be so great. If you go back and watch the press conference last night, there were two ways that you could sort of interpret that. One would be a guy who looked like he was defeated and ready to move on, and that's kind of what I thought when I watched it. But at the same time, you could also watch it with the thought that, hey, they're trying to make it more humble, more human, and maybe sell it one last time to see if the fans buy it and they can bring him back. And if they bought him back, I think they would have saved a lot of money from the buyout they're probably going to have to pay. Well, there's no probably about it. It's just a matter of what it's going to be. I think public opinion was already squarely in one corner. I don't think it budged any last night, and so this seemed like the logical outcome of all that.
Chris, there's no question that they played very hard down the stretch. They were able to beat Florida. They played, Arkansas to overtime for what it's worth last night. It would seem like the team, at least the guys that were still there on that team, wanted to give Jerry Stackhouse everything they had. Does that count for anything? I guess not if the results aren't there overall.
Well, look, they've always played hard for him. Whatever criticisms you have of Jerry Stackhouse, it's not that his kids don't play hard. They're just not talented enough. I think he went 28-60 in the SEC in his time. I don't think you judge somebody by one game for better or for worse. If the record had been reversed and they'd blown that lead last night, then nobody would be arguing Jerry Stackhouse needed to be gone. But it was the body of work. And they just have never had good enough talent. The knock against him has always been in recruiting, that he didn't do a good enough job, and that effort was a part of it. And this league has got too much talent. I mean, I'm sitting here watching it, and you watch the players that the other teams run out, and Vanderbilt's got some good ones. It's got Tyron Lawrence. It's got Ezra Mannion. But you've got teams in this league that from, and I've thrown Van Allen Lubin in there too, but from 4 down, there's a pretty big gap between Vanderbilt and the types of teams in this league that are going to the NCAA tournament, and I think that's what got him.
Does this move give them a chance for a reset? And when I say a reset, I don't mean just for the team. I mean the way they market the team, the feel of the team, everything about it. Does this give an opportunity to just start over, hopefully, maybe a reintroduction of Vanderbilt basketball to a city that hasn't seen them very much over the past few years?
100%. I think as long as it's been since they've been good with any regularity, they got a lot in their favor. The TV money and the money from being in the league is bigger than ever. The stage that they play on in this town is bigger than ever. The school is as good as it's ever been. And these are all the things that they market. But I think more than that, NIL is now a thing. And they've got people who can write big, big checks, more so than a lot of schools do. And I think in the end, that I can't tell you this is 100% fact, but I think that thing gives them a chance. I think it's gotten the attention of people in the coaching community, what they've done recently with NIL and football, and some of the numbers that have thrown out. Look, if people will throw money into Vanderbilt football, they'll definitely do it in basketball, and I think they will have a terrific pool of candidates. I hope they conduct a good search and turn over all the rocks. But I think, look, it has been a bad – I don't know if you want to go back to the last 2 years of Bryce Drew's tenure. It's been a pretty rough 7 years. They haven't been in the tournament in that time, and there's been a lot of last-place finishes. But at the same time, there's a lot to like about this job going forward if they play their cards right, and I think coaches know that.
My last question before I turn it over to Darren here. You mentioned that that Candace did not want to fire Jerry Stackhouse. After a record of 70-92 and a 9-24 record overall, 4-14 in the SEC, why wouldn't she want to fire? Like, why would you want to hold on to that as a record?
I think it's the constant tease. I think sometimes it's not what you do, it's when you do it. And 5 years in a row, they have played their best ball at the end. And, look, a month and a half ago, we were talking about might they go winless in the SEC. Not only did not go winless, they won 4 games. They in the conference. They almost, they beat a Florida team that's going to the NCAA tournament next week. Just last game before this. They were within, an overtime of beating Arkansas and notching another one. I think they always end the season so well that there's a lot of recency bias built into the way that people do everything. The last thing we saw is the last thing we often hold on to. He strung together year after year after year of that, and everybody said, well, if he can just bottle that up in November and December, then they've got something. He was never able to do it, but I think it was the timing of when he won games every year that kept him in the job this long, among other things.
Chris, you talked about his talent or lack of compared to the rest of the league. Would you look at the defections the last couple of years, the important players, important pieces that went on to most of them to stay right in this conference? What do you make of that, not being able to keep a lot of these players here? Do you think that it was a Jerry Stackhouse and his staff problem, or do you think that's going to be a Vanderbilt problem moving forward, no matter who the coach is?
Well, look, it's an everybody problem in college basketball right now. If you go look 3 hours east, where you got a coach who's got a top 5 program in the country right now, and I think has a really good culture in Rick Barnes, they lost Olivia Kamwa last year out to the portal, a kid who started for them and would have been a centerpiece or maybe one of the centerpieces of this year's team. So with that as your backdrop, being that it's a problem for everybody with the portal, I think their problem was worse than most. Look, I'm going to sit here and tell you that there's nobody that likes Jerry Stackhouse, because that's far from the truth. I know a lot of people that liked him, and even some of the people that were critical of him liked him. But there was also a set of people who didn't like him at all. I think he was difficult to work for. I think he was difficult to play for at times. A lot of people had fun with the benevolent dictator comment that he dropped last year. But I think there was some truth to that. I think that you had coaches that got a little tired of it. You had players that got a little tired of it. And when you're losing a Vanderbilt-type kid, like maybe a Jordan Wright, who's I think was the SEC Scholar Athlete of the Year. I think Dylan DeSue might have been too. Jordan wasn't. Correct me if I think I'm wrong on that. But they had good academic kids that were Vanderbilt-type kids. Now, look, you can look at both those cases. DeSue went back home to Austin, Texas, and Jordan Wright went home to Baton Rouge. And so those were kind of, I don't know if you call them outliers, but they're certainly special situations. But it's never about one or two guys leaving your program. It's about a lot. Some of those were pushed out. Again, I think that points to a lack of recruiting and being able to identify SEC-level talent. So that's part of it too. But I think the numbers had piled up, and I'd always kind of speculated that could be a problem for him at a place where graduation rates and stuff like that matter. And maybe it was. I don't know if it was or wasn't. But that was always a reason I could see him getting run out of the job if it happened, and I can't think that helped.
You said you didn't think Candace Lee wanted to get rid of Jerry Stackhouse. The fact is, he's not the coach today. Are you saying that it went over her head on why he's not the coach anymore?
That's been speculated. I don't know it for a fact, and if you want my opinion, I don't believe it. I think it was ultimately her call. I can't prove it. I'm not reporting it as fact, but I've not heard anything to indicate that the lever was pulled over his head. I think what happened is that the money that was going to walk away from athletics donations was probably to a point between donors and tickets that became problematic. Often when there's a coaching change, I think that's what happened. I think she really, really wanted to keep him, and it told him such even very recently. So I think the news this morning probably came as a surprise to some of his staff. But I think eventually when that number gets so big that it's so financially damaging, you're almost left with no choice but to walk away. And I have a feeling, I'm not telling you that's for fact, but I bet you if I had to pinpoint one reason, I would bet you that's the one.
We're speaking with Chris Lee. VandySports.com does a great job of covering Vanderbilt athletics. I listened to the postgame presser. I read the quotes, and this morning I tweeted out, after listening to the postgame presser, after reading the quotes, it sounds like a man who knows he's not coming back for his sixth season as Vanderbilt's basketball coach. I don't really know how you could listen to his words and some of the things that he talked about and not feel that way. Obviously, everybody reads things differently, and but there was a lot of reflecting. It looked like there was deflecting, there was reflecting. The whole thing about the suits was interesting. But really the big part is little confusing and perplexing to me, Chris, and I want to get your take on this. I didn't feel like people gave me a chance to get to know me, that speech. You've been there 5 years, and I guess the question, and I never had any issues with Jerry Stackhouse. I interviewed him a lot early on, and then that well just dried up. He never came on anymore, and I don't know if it was his doing or when they cleaned out all the people over there working behind the scenes and brought in all these new people. They don't give me the vibe that they have any idea who any of us are, and so I didn't really talk to him in several years. So is that really whose fault is it that, in 5 years we didn't get to know the coach that well? I was very confused by that one.
Well, look, there were some things that Jerry said last night that were very humanizing. That the thing about the suit to his mom, that was touching. And I thought he was going to tear up for a minute, and it might have been some people in the room that did too, if it got to that point. But and those are the things about him. And I know a lot of people, again, that really like Jerry, and there are reasons like that. There was that side that he showed at times, but it just wasn't there enough. And I mean, look, I've been critical of him since before he coached his first game, because there was already stuff in the water about the lack of recruiting and knowledge and stuff like that. And it was all fair, and it was all why this thing never worked in the first place. I was probably never his favorite person for that reason. But I was doing some stuff for Chris Dortch at Blue Ribbon. 90-something% of coaches in the country, are willing to do an interview in the summer when there's nothing going on. He quit doing those. It felt like all the media opportunities he did were centered around NBA-centric podcasts, where a lot of people thought he wanted to get back to. Look, Darren, you've been in this town covering media, from covering this town from a media standpoint longer than I have been. And one of the most media-friendly guys, as you and I both know, in this town is Tim Corbin. And Tim Corbin never mattered who the media relations person was, whatever. I heard the stories of, Tim would want to turn on the radio to his drive in the morning and hear whatever their Tuesday score with Belmont was, even if they got beat, because it was putting their name out there. A guy that's really savvy like that doesn't have to be told. They find a way. I just don't think that switch ever worked with Jerry. I think some of it was arrogance. I think some of it was the thought that, I'm going to blow through this job and go get the Carolina job or get an NBA job. I really think that was in his head when he got here. So I don't think he did a lot of diligence in terms of making relationships and doing things like that. And then when you wake up and it's kind of too late and you need some people on your side to tell your story, you don't have those relationships. And so that's the part of last night that I found pretty disingenuous, because I just don't think there was much of an effort made in the first place.
Well, you're spot on with what you said about Tim. By the way, Tim was just on our show on Monday. And you're right. It doesn't matter who
because of course he was.
Yeah, right. And it doesn't matter who's the media relations person. It does not matter if they literally just it was their first day on the job. If you ask for Tim Corbin's going to do it because he gets it. And by the way, he also appreciates people that have been covering him for a very, very long time. So well said on that. Last thing, Chris, and really appreciate your time today, considering where you are. But I know these are going to be hard to answer, but I just want to get your early thoughts. What's a list of maybe 2 or 3 candidates that you think are realistic, and when do you think we're going to know this buyout number? Do you have any idea what the number truly is? Is it double figures in the millions?
I think it is. The number I heard a few weeks ago that got laughed off at first by sources with $15 million, I think that's close to the truth. I've heard higher. I've heard it as much as $10 million higher than that. If I had to guess, it wasn't that much, but it was I think it was well into 8 figures. We'll see where that settles. It may not have even settled as we're doing this. Realistic candidates or good candidates, something along those lines. Chris Mack's name has already come up a lot. He's got a daughter who's coming to Vanderbilt to play volleyball when they start the program in a couple of years. Depending on who you ask, there's either interest there, or he may be waiting out Xavier if Sean Miller leaves to take either I can't remember if Ohio State's filled or not. I don't think it is. And there was another job that he was maybe spying. So that might be one where
maybe Louisville. Maybe Louisville.
Yeah, that's the one. I'm in a bubble here in Bridgestone, as you know, when you're covering a tournament. The outside world just kind of ceases to exist. So I think that's one. I think Josh Schertz at Indiana State is a name that I've heard for a while, that if there is a vacancy, that's one to watch. He fits some of their criteria with, I think, some private school background. Pat Kelsey at Charleston is a guy that when Bryce Drew got the job, he got an interview. That would have been 2016. I would think he would probably still be on their list of people to think about. He's a guy that could get people excited and promote the program, which they need. Mitch Henderson at Princeton is a name that's come up. Again, Ivy League background, that appeals to them. Yeah, the fans
Chris,
want them to take.
Chris,
yeah, go ahead.
Drew Maddox.
Not as a head coach. And Drew and I are friends. I love Drew, but you can't, he was a high school coach that got out of coaching and isn't in the business anymore. Maybe if he needs somebody as an assistant, Drew's interested. You think about that. Drew's a terrific guy, knows available inside and out. But they're going to get some guys in this. Bucky McMillan at Sanford is one that I think stylistically fits what has always worked there. They shoot the eyes out of the three ball. They're exciting. He would be a promoter. He'd be good with NIL. And I haven't heard his name mentioned as available at all, but I would also take a look at Alan Huss at High Point, who did some good things with NIL at Creighton. So there are some names that I would at least have on the radar. They could go somewhere else completely different, but I think, I don't know, I might take that versus the field, but with him, sometimes you just don't know.
Chris Lee has been our guest with VandySports.com, a busy, busy man, and we are thankful for his time here on this Thursday afternoon. Chris, we really, really do appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you for having me.
All right. Chris Lee from VandySports.com has been our guest, and a lot to think about after some of the comments he made. We got loaded phone lines, Darren, so we need to go to break. We'll come back, and we'll get to them. Adam in Portland, Michigan. Hold on, guys. We're coming right back to you. It's the McFarland Show on WNSR.
Buyandtow.com. Get cash for junk cars. You have a vehicle that's become a problem? You can get cash in your hand today and your vehicle hauled away. They'll buy your vehicle no matter the condition, in your driveway, at your mechanic shop, or even on the side of the road. You can call them at 615-480-6473 or visit buyandtow.com. Get cash in your hand today and your vehicle hauled away. 615-480-6473, buyandtow.com. That's buyandtow.com.
Have you ever met a single person in your life that enjoys paying taxes? No, no one does. If you can't sleep at night because you have a huge problem with the IRS, I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes. And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now, to learn more.
800-649-0142. 800-649-0142. 800-649-0142. That's 800-649-0142.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Hi, I'm Jeff Fisher. Guess what? The Cats are back. The Nashville Cats will be returning to the Municipal Auditorium on April 27th in the season opener against the Minnesota Myth. There will be 5 total games played at Municipal Auditorium, with 1 additional game played up in Clarksville at F&M Bank Arena on Armed Forces Day on Saturday, May 18th. For player or dance team tryouts or tickets, log on to thenashvillecats.com.
It's the Bill King Show.
If I ever told you my disdain for spring games, they are useless, they are irrelevant, they are not representative of a real college football game, nor does it tell you what you need to be looking out for once your team gets on the field for fall games that do count, that do go in the record books, and do mean something.
Weekday mornings beginning at 6 on Sports Radio 560 on 95.9 FM.
Welcome back to the Strike and Spare Studios. You're listening to The McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
This is WNSR. It's The McFarland Show, back here with you on this busy Thursday afternoon. They continue to play basketball over at Bridgestone Arena. Of course, the SEC basketball tournament is happening over there. It was also where the season and head coaching career ended, at least for Vanderbilt, with Jerry Stackhouse. He was fired a few hours ago by the Commodores, and that has been the main topic of discussion here this afternoon. We just spent some time with Chris Lee over with VandySports.com. We appreciate him sharing his insight. We also welcome your phone calls at 615-844-5600. DJ Damon King, Darren McFarland here with us from our Rutherford County Bureau today. Adam in Portland has been patient with us. Adam, welcome to the show.
Hey, J-Man, let me ask you, man. So,
yes, sir.
What's wrong with Titans fans right now? Like, they are tripping, man. Like, it's stupid. Like, if you see online, so many people mad about Mason Rudolph being signed, like he's some bum that's going to start. Like, I even seen an article that said he's going to push Levis to start. Like, that's
no, you didn't.
Thing.
No, you didn't, Adam. You're serious?
I can forward it to you, dude. Like, I can forward it to you. He's got an opportunity to push Levis to start. It's just people are just so bored right now, man. Just like, that's the thing. Like, we got March Madness. We have stuff to talk about, and people are just so ridiculous right now. And so, yeah, that's my whole point, man, I don't know if Ridley's going to be great. I don't know if Rudolph is going to be worth more than $3 million. It's like the cheapest you could have got a quarterback. I don't know if he's going to be worth it, but like Titans fans are super bored right now, dude. I don't know how else to phrase it. We're so bored, and we got money, dude. Like, we got stuff to talk about that's not so dumb, but like we look so bad. And I'm the biggest fan, Darren. You know that, man. I've been with you for years. I'm the biggest fan, and we look so dumb right now. I don't know how to do it.
Are they still?
Adam?
Go ahead, Darren.
I'm glad that Justin and I don't go to the same place as you do.
I don't.
To see all this stuff, because we'd probably lose our minds if we saw some of the stuff you're telling us that's out there. I haven't even seen that. I know Justin hasn't either.
No.
I'm going to forward you the article. Like, I'm with Darren on Facebook anyway. I'm going to forward the article to you, and it's like people are serious about it, and then arguing, and then of course we already been through the Derrick Henry thing, man. Like, people, you should have signed him to 3. What? He's been here forever. Like, I don't get it, dude. I'm hitting my head against the wall over here, dude. I don't understand. We're bored, man. I need football back, I guess. That's what it is.
Well,
it is the silly season.
If football
right?
came back, it would just give more people more fuel for more conspiracies, like the Derrick Henry extension and, Ryan Tannehill getting traded to the Jets.
Now, I will say this, Justin, to Adam's point, the Derrick Henry extension thing is definitely, I've seen all that. Like, if you gave that to Tony Pollard, why didn't you just give that to Derrick Henry? That is real. I've definitely seen that.
The Derrick Henry extension last year. Remember last year, because everybody knew this was the final year of Derrick Henry's deal, there was a lot of talk about Derrick Henry. They're working on an extension for Derrick Henry right now. He'll sign it any day now. That's being reported. By who? Who's telling people these things?
Well, hey, I'll let you guys go. Listen, the last thing I want to say to that is, like, it's the same demographic that's like, I don't know. I don't want to bring politics in it, but the same type of voter that votes for this one individual is the same ones that's like, oh, yeah, you could have brought him back. Yeah, okay, could we have? Like, every time he's on the field, we're running the ball. Every single time. Like 95% accuracy with that. So I totally get not bringing him back, and I can still love him. Like, it's not a two-way street with that. Both could be true.
He was
I
outstanding.
don't want him anymore, and I love him.
He was outstanding. All right, Adam, thank you so much, sir. We appreciate
it. Adam. That's twice we've gone down the politics road on this show, Justin.
Yeah, that's uninvited, by the way. Uninvited by us. We're just minding our own business.
That was a little bit better.
And here it comes, flying down the bend. Just like, what Who invited this coming down? What are we talking about?
Coming in hot.
Just all of a sudden. All right, let's get what time is it? 3:30. Okay, let's get to Michigan. Michigan, welcome to the show, sir.
I'm happy to say that I'm not going to do it twice in a row. We're not doing politics here.
Okay.
On Uncle Michigan's lap. No way, Jose.
Yes, sir.
And I do want to tell Adam when he asks the question, what's wrong with people? You've been spending the wrong time on Al Gore's internet, my friend.
You just said you weren't bringing in the politics, Michigan. Just said.
Michigan. I said Al Gore's internet. I didn't say anything about politics.
Then you inhaled and spit out Al Gore's name.
He created the internet. I'm just spitting out facts. I mean, come on.
Do I need to play the buzzer here? Do I need to play the buzzer?
No politics and Al Gore.
Here we go.
That's a matter of public record. It's on Wikipedia. That's all. Anyway,
Man.
I do want to say something nice. So I went to 2 Vanderbilt games this year, one men's, one women's. I was shocked at how many more people were at the women's game than were at the men's game. It was actually kind of jarring. I hope Jerry takes some lessons from this and is better the next place he goes. And that's kind of all I want to say about it. I have a nice job. I do pretty well. I've learned a lot from falling short and not succeeding. I've learned way more from not succeeding than I have from succeeding. So I hope he takes some good lessons from this and applies it wherever he goes and does well. And that's kind of all I'm going to say about Vanderbilt. I'm going to bridge that to say I haven't heard enough discussion today on any airwaves whatsoever about what happened in Huntsville last night, where my favorite men's head basketball coach, Mr. Nick McDevitt, who, if you spend time in the wrong corners of places like maybe Adam is doing, is someone that has not always been, I would say, the favorites of some very loud portion, some very loud minority of the MTSU fan base who've gone so far as to say, let's just rehire Kermit this year, which makes me want to jump off a building. So I loved seeing them win that game last night. I loved seeing them celebrate with a lot of our fans. I'm sorry I'm not down there, but I'm headed to Tampa this weekend, so I couldn't double dip. And I just want to ask you guys, because I don't always give you guys a chance to really interact. I just come on here and, get on my soapbox and bully pulpit for 5 minutes.
And it's welcomed.
When is the place where you need to get rid of a coach, and when is too soon? Because I heard the gentleman from Vanderbilt, Vandy Sports, who did a great job saying, hey, some of the alumni money, some of the booster money into the athletics program was going to start dwindling maybe if they brought this guy back. I understand that, but shouldn't you also sometimes stay in the course? Just to bring up Kermit Davis, who had that great moment in 2016. He was at the school for 18 years. He was there for a full 10 years before he had any success at all. Maybe that's just a cultural thing and where we are today where everybody wants it now. So I'll run and I'm going to – oh, go ahead.
No.
Hit me, Justin.
Yeah, Michigan, listen, I just want to, to respond to your question. Darren has had a technical issue. He'll rejoin us here in just a second. And I want to get your response to this, Michigan, which is why I want to hold you just a second. I've had a university president, which I refuse to use his name, but he's a university president right here in Middle Tennessee. And we had a private conversation, and we had some dead time before an interview about a news subject. And I just asked him randomly, how do you know when it's time to move on from one of your athletic coaches? And this is what he told me. He says, when you have a full class, a freshman to senior, that never had a chance to compete for a conference championship of any type and has had a bad school experience, because his belief was that your student athletes are your best recruiters, because, a coaching staff can only do but so much. But a student athlete, you're going to move, 10, 12, 15 of those people every single year, and their word about how great your program is will spread a lot further and faster than your coach will ever be able to do. But if they're having a bad experience, then there's no way in the world you're going to be able to draw the next generation of people in. So if you've got a full group of people, you've been there for 4 years, 5 years, and you've never were able to accomplish a conference championship, a bowl game, whatever the sport may be, anything special, that means you've probably had a bad experience, and therefore you're probably not going to be so welcoming or so glowing about the program. And he says that creates a bad culture, and now it's time to move on. That was his experience, and it was one of the best explanations of when to move on that I've heard from anybody. So I've kind of taken that with me here, and I'm interested in your thoughts on that.
I would generally agree with that statement, and that sounds like something I've heard from a university president I've spoken to. That is a difficult line to know how to balance, because what is your culture? How do you know what your culture is? And I'll just bring it back to Vandy to kind of put a bow on this whole conversation. If they go and source candidates that are the same kind of candidate that they went down the road to find Stackhouse, right? Which is, this is an off-the-wall hire, right? Or an outside-the-box hire. We need someone to come in who can speak to our young athletes instead of a culture builder. I'm going to give you a name that I didn't hear mentioned from the gentleman at VandySports.com. If Vandy's AD doesn't make a call immediately to Dusty May's agent with what he's done down in Boca Raton at FAU, now he may not take the call. He might be destined for a larger program than Vanderbilt after his guys all graduate this year. But if you don't call a guy like Dusty May, who had some real struggles there and brought in a class of people who believed in him, of young men, and got them all to stay after they made the Final Four last year, all except one guy who graduated. I mean, everyone came back. Elijah Martin came back. Greenlee came back. Vladislav Goldan came back. That's a culture builder. And I think those types of coaches and those types of people in your athletic association and your athletic department are worth sticking it out with. And that's always been
but
my
can those
messaging
players
about
get
Nick
into
Saban.
Vanderbilt, Michigan?
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them, probably not, right? But
That's what I'm saying. Like, you
what
have
happens-
to. There's a lot, like Kelvin Sampson. Like, honestly, like, why would you not? But can the type of kids that Sampson has been recruiting over the years and all the success he's had, and I know he's been in trouble with the NCAA, but all that stuff is legal now that he got in trouble with. But can the kids he's been recruiting, can he get those kids into Vanderbilt? Probably not.
Probably not. And listen, we're talking about, that's a different topic altogether, Darren. And we can talk about, you and I have had conversations about Middle Tennessee State's endemic problem. You've got 22,000 students in 3,000 dorm rooms, right? How do you solve that on football Saturdays when, 75% of your campus isn't living on campus? How do you get them to the game? Those are endemic university problems that I don't think it's across for the head coach of the men's basketball team to bear. You need to bring someone in that can build a great culture. And yes, there are some confines that other schools aren't going to have. You have to live within those confines. But does that mean Jerry Stackhouse didn't work? Should you not take a look at, someone like, I'm going to mention an old SEC name. Should you not take a look at Will Wade, who did not do well at LSU and is doing an amazing job at McNeese? Does that mean he's not worthy of a second shot? He certainly knows the area. He certainly knows the conference. I just hope they don't go down the same familiar road and, hire someone who's an outside the box hire because they don't think they can get, someone who can actually build a culture just because of the confines of what a student athlete is expected to do at Vanderbilt. It would be my takeaway.
Michigan, thank you for the phone call, sir. We appreciate it as always. Thank you, sir. All right, there's Michigan. Darren, I mean, there's going to be opinions all over the place about what to do next. I agree, and I brought this up with Tony in our first hour. I would like to see one of wherever they pull from, it needs to be another academic institution similar to Vanderbilt. Somebody from Wake Forest, somebody from Duke, somebody from Stanford, somebody from Notre Dame, someone who is used to recruiting the kind of players that we know can get into Vanderbilt, because that's a certain circle. It just is. There's a certain type of recruitment that you have to do, and it's not the same as you do at other places. And I know that's tough for some people to see because, they did well over here. Why can't they reproduce? Because you can't go get the same person. That's why. You have to recognize the neighborhood that you're in. And it's a great neighborhood, but it comes at a price. That's all. So, it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do moving forward here, and what direction that they're looking to get in? Do you want something that's going to make a splash, or do you want somebody who could potentially be effective and understands the challenges that you're facing? So, I don't know. There's a lot.
By
to
the
be
way,
discussed.
somebody look. Here's the other part that you're leaving out, and it's a big one.
Yeah.
Somebody who's willing to embrace this market and understand that there are more challenges at Vanderbilt than just getting kids into school. The other challenge is Nashville is arguably the hottest market in the country, and you have a whole lot of competition. You have an NFL team, you have an NHL team, you have an MLS soccer team, you have NASCAR, you have all the other schools and all the other stuff. The sounds, there's a lot to do in this market. Somebody that's going to get out there, look, you're going to have to resell Vanderbilt athletics. People have already decided to go do other things. I mean, look around.
Yeah.
Look at football games, to look at basketball games. You just heard Michigan talk about it. Like, you got to get somebody in there like James Franklin, who was willing to go out there and beg people to come to games. You're going to need that too. I'm sorry, but not sorry. That's just what it is. And unfortunately for them, that's a lot of it is what you've created. So you better get somebody in there that wants to sell tickets too and get people back, supporting the program.
We're going to take a break. Nate, stay with us. We will get to you when we come back. This is the McFarland Show on WNSR.
With 13 locations nationally, including Smyrna, Star Leasing Company is a semi-trailer one-stop shop and the perfect place to build a career as a semi-trailer mechanic. Seeking candidates with all levels of experience, Star Leasing Company has a semi-trailer technician trainee program with sign-on and quarterly bonuses and other opportunities such as $1,000 for having a yearly physical. Package also includes 401k with company match, health, dental, and vision insurance, competitive pay with weekly paychecks, and paid holidays and time off. Star Leasing Company, not your typical semi-trailer leasing company. Visit starleasing.com to learn more.
A friend of mine just bought a new house for the first time. A new house. I mean, my wife and I'd love to own a house. So I asked him how he did it. And he smiled and he said he went to the knowledge tree. He had this happy look on his face. So I told him to tell me more. And he said, John, the lack of knowledge will keep you poor. Then he handed me a brochure. It was from Knowledge Tree Mortgage. Now I understood. And after one phone call, I understood even more. Knowledge Tree Mortgage specializes in first-time homebuyers. Folks like me who get the runaround from banks, and he got us pre-qualified. Knowledge Tree Mortgage got us our mortgage. And tomorrow, my wife and I are going to become first-time homebuyers. Here's the number, 859-9599. 859-9599. Money doesn't grow on trees. Knowledge does. Knowledge Tree Mortgage, 859-9599. 859-9599.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-617-0239. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-617-0239. That's 800-617-0239. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
In a single moment, everything can change. When a player's sudden cardiac event brought a national football game to a halt, it shone a spotlight on the importance of CPR readiness. Now, with youth sports in full swing, the American Heart Association is rallying parents and coaches to be ready in an emergency. To be ready, learn hands-only CPR. It's a skill anyone can learn in minutes. Visit heart.org/hands-only CPR and become a lifesaver today.
It's the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Because you have your franchise quarterback going into his second year who could use all the help he can get, whether it's system and maybe a veteran guy who's been there, done it, in that room that can help bring him along. I think it's time for the Titans to bring in another Neil O'Donnell, Kerry Collins, Matt Hasselbeck type.
The McFarland Show with Darren and Justin on Nashville Sports Radio WNSR.
The McFarland Show. Video streaming live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube from the Strike and Spare studio.
The McFarland Show on WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio. Justin McFarland here with you, DJ Damon King, Darren McFarland from our Rutherford County Bureau. A lot to share with you as we get you going here, wrapping up our second hour. It's been a busy show. We've been all over the map here, talking a lot about a lot of different sports. Can we get to the phone lines? Is that available? Okay, we can. Let's get to Nate. Nate's been patiently waiting. Nate, thank you so much. Welcome to the program.
What's up, guys? I will always patiently wait to talk on y'all's show.
Appreciate that, Nate. We really do.
What politician you want to get into?
None, please, none. Never mind. None. Just keep it. Don't worry about it.
Smokey, that's a politician. So are we bringing up what Michigan mentioned about the coaches with Vandy? Are we sure that they can handle Will Wade?
Are we? I'm sorry, I missed it. Say it again, Nate. Are we sure we can handle?
Could they go with Will Wade? Probably.
Will Wade.
Again,
okay.
It goes back to, what I said before, Nate. I mean, I know that he was accused of paying players, and you don't have that in play anymore. But again, I think the type of athlete that he's been used to getting, and I know he's familiar with the area, and he went to FRA, right? Will Wade is, I think, an FRA grad. I know he knows the lay of the land of this market, but I don't know if Will Wade can get in the type of players that he's looking for into a place like Vanderbilt.
I don't know. I just thought about that when Michigan had mentioned him. But I also had something just sounded too familiar in that interview. When he said that Vandy started playing good at the end of the year, that makes me think of the Preds, especially this year. I don't know. It just sounded a little too familiar.
And okay.
Well, that they've changed coaches, and Vanderbilt has been doing this under Jerry Stackhouse, where they get off to these horrendous starts. At least the last 2 years, November, December, were awful, and even into January, and then they heat up in February, and unfortunately, it's been too little, too late.
Well, I think the biggest thing is the comment they made about the Vandy athletic director, where she's basically made up her mind, and then they start playing better, and it's it gets tougher at the end. And I mean, I don't know. Also, the Preds. My wife last night after the game said, "What else did Barry Trotz and Andrew Burnett take from them?" Because they played really well.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, they've been playing well for 13 games.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've won 11 of 13, and they've had 13 consecutive games with at least a point, or point streak. So, there's nothing to take away in Winnipeg, Nate, because I've been there. I mean, you can't take away the cold weather. You can't take away any hills, because there is no hills. You can see for 60 miles in Winnipeg. And there's nothing really to do. So there's nothing to take away. I guess you could take away somebody's coat, their winter coat. But other than that, I don't know what you take away in Winnipeg.
Well, and what do y'all think of this comment? Because I heard earlier today, Elliot Freeman said that what was his name? The guy that plays for Winnipeg. He's out with an injury.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, go ahead.
But he said, it doesn't really matter that he's out. The Preds still had to go into a pretty big environment. What do you think of those comments?
Well, that was a tough game.
Yeah.
That was a critical game. They needed that, and they went in there and owned Winnipeg last night in their house. So that was a big win.
Psychological, if more than anything else. They need to beat a team like Winnipeg on a regular basis. They do.
Well, the reality is that could be the first round matchup.
Yeah.
Do you think we'd see 12 guys in the box again in the playoffs if that happens?
I don't think so. I don't think we'll ever see that again. I don't think. Are you talking about Ehlers? Is that who you're talking about?
You
or
mean
is
the guy
who,
from last
who's
night?
is it? Was it who's out that you were talking? Do you remember who it was?
I don't. It's one of their big.
Shifley, maybe Shifley. I don't know. I don't know who Elliott said.
I think it's Shifley.
Okay, maybe Shifley.
All right.
I think it is.
Nate, thanks for the phone call, man. We got to get to break. I appreciate it.
Yeah, y'all have a great day, guys.
All right.
You too.
Nate from down there in Murray County. Big game, obviously, for the Predators with the 4-2 win last night. Next up, I believe, the Coyotes, correct? Coyotes up next before coming back to the house here after the SEC basketball tournament. As a matter of fact, we'll get you the latest updates on the scores happening over there while South Carolina's taking a commanding lead now over Arkansas in the second half of that game. South Carolina is up 12, so 2 more games to play. We'll put a bow on this edition.
By the way, Justin, real quick, they're going to Seattle next, not Arizona.
So
Kraken.
sorry. The Kraken.
Kraken on Saturday.
The Kraken on Saturday.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. I apologize. I don't know where I got that from. All right. Let's get to break. Maybe that's the problem. More of the McFarland Show when we come back.
And now, the fine folks at FMR Construction Services are on the air, proudly saluting the brave men and women of our U.S. military, both past and present. Thank you. This message is courtesy of FMR Construction Services, your certified pros. For commercial and residential roofing, general contracting, and painting needs, call FMR Construction Services today at 615-788-7662. 615-788-7662.
Your brain is an amazing thing, but as you get older, it naturally begins to change, causing a lack of sharpness or even trouble with recall. Thankfully, the breakthrough in Prevagen helps your brain and actually improves memory. The secret is an ingredient originally discovered in jellyfish. Based on a clinical study of subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired, Prevagen has been shown to improve memory. A Pharmacy Times national survey of pharmacists rated Prevagen the #1 pharmacist-recommended memory support brand for the 5th year in a row. You can find it in the vitamin aisle in stores everywhere without a prescription. Help your memory. Try Prevagen today. Prevagen. Healthier brain, better life. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
This responsible gaming message is brought to you by the Tennessee Lottery. When you play the lottery, it's important to play responsibly. Know your limit and spend only what you can afford. Set a budget and stick to it. And remember, as long as you're having fun, you're always a winner in our book. The Tennessee Lottery is a proud supporter of National Problem Gambling Awareness Month. To learn more about problem gambling resources, visit tnlottery.com.
It's JB and the General.
Really, I'd say if a move isn't made within the next 48 hours after the season's conclusion, to me, that's your answer.
Yeah, I agree. If this is not immediate, because it shouldn't have to be anything Candace has to think about. You know, she should be all in one way or the other. He's coming back or he's gone. Like, that decision should already be made. I think that's what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Weekdays 9 to 11, live on WNSR.
You're listening to The McFarland Show live on WNSR Nashville Sports Radio.
WNSR, here with you is The McFarland Show. And a couple of minutes left here, a couple of news and notes to pass along to you here on this Thursday afternoon. South Carolina is now leading Arkansas 53-45 with just over 11 minutes to go in the second half there in the SEC basketball tournament. Still 2 more games to play from downtown Nashville coming up here a little bit later. So heads up on that. Ole Miss will be taking on Texas A&M, and Georgia will be taking on Florida. Tomorrow, Tennessee will be hosting, well, not hosting, but they'll be taking on Mississippi State tomorrow. That game is at noon there in downtown Nashville in the next round of the SEC basketball tournament.
No, they will be hosting. No, they'll be hosting.
They're the home team in that scenario? Okay.
Well, you'll see tomorrow at noon. Yeah, they'll be hosting.
Yeah, well, depends on how you look at it, I guess. Trade coming in from the NFL. Actually, a couple of different notes. Let's start with the latest trade, though. The Commanders, Washington Commanders, they are sending last year's starter Sam Howell to the Seattle Seahawks, and a bit of a trade there. So they're going to get, the Seahawks will receive Sam Howell and a 4th-round pick and a 6th-round pick. The Commanders will receive a 3rd-round pick and a 5th-round pick in exchange for the backup quarterback. We assume he's going to be the backup quarterback there to Geno Smith there in Seattle as they start over again. Darren?
I don't know.
You don't know? You don't know about that?
No.
Okay.
Don't know.
They're paying Geno Smith a lot of money to not be to be the backup, if that's the case. I'm just saying.
Who says they can't sever ties? I mean, contracts are, in the NFL are meant to be broken. Yeah. We know that.
And many other places as well. Yes, sir. We are continuing, obviously, to follow the news from Vanderbilt as Jerry Stackhouse has been removed as the head basketball coach. He amassed a record of 70 wins and 92 losses over 5 seasons. The buyout is still up in the air. We've heard as little as $8 million. Chris Lee from VandySports.com reported could be as much as $20 million.
He said 15. He said 15.
Well, he says he's also heard as much as 20, even though he doesn't think it's true. But
I've heard 14 is the number that I've heard.
Yeah, well,
so
it depends. Depends on what's going on. And of course, the Titans made big news last night, or into last night, this overnight. The Calvin Ridley signing 4 years, $92 million, $50 million guaranteed. They also signed Mason Rudolph, the backup quarterback. We believe he's going to be the backup. We're like 99% sure on that. Backup quarterback there. And they re-signed Nick Foles. Nick Foles, the kicker, he tried free agency for about 10 minutes and then decided to sign with the Titans.
Nick Folk.
Nick Folk, yes.
Yes. Doug on our text line says, I guess you could say with Vanderbilt releasing their basketball coach, possibly the odds of him staying were stacked against him. Damon, that was your cue. We worked all this out, and it was met with a big thud.
Just okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
That didn't work.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it was
we'll
worth
do
the try.
better tomorrow. We'll do better tomorrow.
It's rehearsal. It's a reason for rehearsal. So
it worked in rehearsal.
It worked in rehearsal.
Just didn't work live.
Listen, that's the way that goes sometimes. Darren will be back here in Nashville, we hope.
Yeah, no jury tomorrow.
No jury tomorrow. Darren will be back here in Nashville. We'll be here as well with more sports talk. Bill King gets us started tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. JB and the General at 9 o'clock. Then Darren and I are back here at 2. Jim Rome in the middle. More SEC basketball throughout the afternoon. And maybe more Titans news. Who knows? Thank you for listening. We'll see you back here in about 22 hours.